Today on Cryptological, we're looking at the 100-day window opening. We are at, boom, 100 days. It's triggered. If you don't know what the hell this is, I don't blame you, because it's something I made up myself only recently. But it's based on last cycle, before the peak. I made a video called Running Out of Time that no one watched, because I haven't figured out YouTube yet, I guess. I don't know. It's just not working, but I'm going to keep plugging away. Running Out of Time, where I talked about the... The reason I'm making this video today is because... Quiet, please, Matt. Indicators that showed the cycle was coming to an end. You can see here, this is the market overview. Why is the resolution so bad? Can we please improve this? You're supposed to... There we go. Right, so you can see these, they're kind of pinkish in color, right? That means they're getting towards the overheated end of the scale. But not all of them are, and they're not right up there. And it doesn't suggest the market cycle's coming to an end. However, this was on October the 7th, I believe. If we scroll down here to the cycle length indicators, you can see that the days left indicator, days left from halving, is showing 0. It's just time elapsed. It's gone. 0. Warning, cycle nearing end at the bottom. I'll put that because, you know, it looks scary and stuff. It's trying to make you think maybe I shouldn't be piling more money into the market right now. And you know what? If people were looking at this and they knew about this website and I'd marketed it properly, maybe they could have used it to help them not lose any more money at that point. Even though I didn't really use it myself. Yeah, anyway. But that made me think, you know, the cycle length indicators are actually important. And that is why I created the 100-day window. Because the average cycle length... I mean, everyone knows about Bitcoin cycles, right? You can just see it. I mean, let's just go to the charts. Let's just look at the standard Bitcoin chart. You can see it clear as day. Boom, 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 boom. I'm joking. Kind of boom. More like a pop. But you can see the cycles clearly. So that got me thinking. Let's pay attention to the average length of cycle tops and cycle bottoms, and from cycle tops to bottoms, and from bottoms to bottoms, and then work out like what's his predicting. And it turns out it's predicting a cycle bottom for Bitcoin somewhere between October 11th and October the 25th ish. If you look at the top to bottom and then bottom to bottom average cycle length. Now the first cycle, obviously, if we go back to the Bitcoin chart, we can see that it's like there's not a lot going on in terms of people in the market. It's not very popular, so it's way more volatile. It's kind of like a really massive outlier in the data set. And if you're a good data scientist, which I'm not, but so I'm told, you get rid of outliers because they can skew the results, and then you don't see, you know, you can't see the wood through the trees. So, oh wait, am I going forward or back? There we go. Back to the 100-day window. We omit the first cycle because the data's kind of junk and it would skew the results. Then we get to a point where we can see, okay, the average is around 370-ish days from the top to the bottom. Where is it? Let's go down to where I've actually shown it. That would help, wouldn't it? So top to bottom. We got 407 days from the 2013 to the 2015. Top to bottom. Then we've got from 2017 to 2018, 363 days, and then 376 days for the third one, 2021 to 2022. Okay, cool. That's average 382 days, which puts a projected bottom at the 23rd of October 2026. Now the bottom to bottom, how have we worked that out? Okay, the bottom to bottom. So we've got 2015 to 2018 and 2018 to 2022. And that's the average of these bottom to bottoms is 1,435 days. And if we project that out from the previous bottom, then we get 26th of October 2026. So from the top to bottom, that predicted us 23rd of October 2026. Bottom to bottom predicts 26th of October 2026. Okay, that being the case, why have I chosen 370 days, top to bottom, which gives us the 11th of October? Well, that's because it's better to err on the side of caution and be early, looking at the market early, than it is to wait and be too late. So, also recency bias slightly in the data. it just seems to make more sense to start looking earlier for a potential bottom in terms of the cycle length. I mean, this is not guaranteed, obviously. It's just because it's worked in the past. It's no guarantee it's going to work in the future. But it has worked in the past. So it probably is going to work in the future again if you just look at it probabilistically. And so it's better to be early than late and miss it. Pay attention. So that's why I chose the 370 days, which predicts the 11th of October. Which, I mean, that's why here. If you want to have a look at this, just go to cryptological.app/100-day window. And then you can read all about it yourself in more detail and less frenetic YouTube-style video, blah, blah, blah. So that's why it's 100 days now. Because in 100 days, it's going to be the 11th of October. And that is the predicted cycle bottom based on the calculations of average cycle length. From top to bottom, bottom to bottom. And then err on the side of caution, be early rather than late. Okay? And to celebrate the 100-day window, I've opened up all premium features. For anyone with a free account, you can access anything across the entire website. So let's just have a quick look at why you might want to do that. We have got a bunch of charts. So many charts with so many features on them. It's insane. I'll just show you a few of my favorite ones. Actually, let's go back quickly. Rewind a sec. This is why... One of the reasons why during that video that I showed you earlier where we looked at the cycle length showing 0, I was also looking at this chart, the Bitcoin bubble indicator. And I was like, well, look, we haven't even got up to the 50, 75 or 75 to 100 really at this peak. So we can't be at like a peak around this time here, surely, because we haven't even got back up to these levels. We always get up to these levels. Turns out we didn't have to get up to these levels for the cycle to end. It just ended. So, okay, chalk one up for the time-based cycle length theory. Pi cycle top was another one. People are waiting for this to cross. Even though you get diminishing amounts of crosses, if we look at the ratio here, this shows how far above the two moving averages get to trigger the top. Boom, 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 boom. And it was getting smaller and smaller. And so I was like, okay, it stands to reason that we're not even going to cross. Because this one only just got to just over 1, a ratio of 1, which means they've just crossed. And so even then, I was predicting a lower point where they didn't even cross, but at least they get closer together. And it was way underneath where that was supposed to be. I created like a normalized ratio that was supposed to normalize for that, but that didn't turn out to go so well. I'm not selling these indicators very well, am I, on the chart? But I'm just emphasizing how important cycle length is. We got some altcoin charts on here. We got alt season index, which shows you how a selected bunch of altcoins are performing against Bitcoin. So when it's high, that's when altcoins are outperforming Bitcoin. When it's low, that's when Bitcoin's outperforming altcoins. We've also got risk metrics for altcoins, all these altcoins here. Not every single one, but I mean, there's trillions at this point. There's a lot of altcoins. Too many to put in this application. We've got normal risk analysis. We've got the good old classic Bitcoin risk levels, which has been useful for finding bottoms, but not so useful for tops recently. It just got up to 0.9 in the 2021 cycle, and then just got up to over 0.7. And that wasn't even anywhere near the top of the market. That was like just at the same price we were at in 2021. But for bottoms, it still seems to be useful, and we've still got a bit of room potentially to go down. Also, it's running ROI risk, which is one I just made recently, which looks pretty cool. It really is. So 1 yearly running ROI risk of Bitcoin, or any asset really, but the Bitcoin one is more useful because it's just the dawn. And you can select like buy zones. It just really highlights. It's not just the peaks that show you the peaks. It's the buy zones. That's what you find with a lot of indicators. It's the lows that show you when it's possibly a good time to buy are way more effective than trying to call the tops. That's just how it is. So we've still got a lot of room to fall. And the top was in October. So by the time we're at October again this year, that'll be the 1 year time period. So if we drop a little bit from here, because the price was at its highest a year ago, that'll make the ROI risk, the ROI itself and the risk drop. So then we could go back down to these levels, the 0.1 sort of level that you'd expect to see based on previous cycle history going back to 2014, 2015. We've got some on-chain data here. This TX tension component that I made is pretty cool. It plots the relationship between MVRV and transaction activity, which you can see here. They actually called the 2021 second top, which is one of the few indicators actually called the top of that cycle. And you can change the moving average here. You get a bunch of different sort of looks at what's going on. We've got some stocks, we've got some ROI, we've got some advanced models here. One that I stole from Ben Cowan's paper that he stole off Giovanni, I think. It's like a rainbow chart, but it's not a rainbow chart that you keep having to refit every cycle because it keeps going lower and lower and not as high. So it kind of like catches the peaks and the lows, even with the golden pocket, as Ben calls it. He likes to be in the golden pocket. SARM recession indicator. This one's cool because it's got a bunch of sliders that adjust it in real time. So if you don't like the Mayer multiple, you can turn that off and the chart's like, okay, I'll ignore that. Otherwise, it takes like a weighted average of each of the indicators and puts that into the market heat index. And then you can set like the thresholds here of like when you want to sort of, trigger these set levels of when it's overheated or when it's cool. And then a really cool thing is that when you go to tools and you go into dynamic DCA indicator, you get 4 potential indicators here you can use for creating strategies. And one of them is the market heat index. And it remembers the settings that you just set up and puts it down here. And then you can adjust these levels. And that's how you can simulate market strategies of what levels to buy at based on certain indicators. And we've got 4. And then you can test them out and see which one's the best. And it turns out that the running ROI risk, if you just set the levels up and just go by that from an arbitrary point, I think I chose 2018 because I was trying to show, I think, a time when there was a market peak. If you started going in a market peak, otherwise a lump sum investment, if you go in at a bottom, would just outperform everything. But if you want to do DCA strategies, this is a really great tool to figure out when to buy, when to sell, how to implement a strategy. Based on previous performance, this is not financial advice. It's just an educational tool that shows you what would have happened if you did thing A over thing B, over thing C, over thing D. So yeah, that's a quick look at the chart. That's a quick look at the 100-day window. And come and check it out. It's free for as long as I can afford to keep hosting it for free. This I didn't want to show that. I wanted to go back to here and then there. There we go. 100-day window. 100 days. We've got 100 days potentially between now and the bottom based on historical cycle lengths. I'm going to start DCAing. I already have started DCAing. And I think it's not a bad time to get into the market traditionally. If you like Bitcoin and you want to invest in it, this is the time you'd be doing it. Because when it's in the news, it's already ripped. It's too late. So yeah, come over to cryptological.app and check it out while everything's free. Free roam over the entire site. Use it for as long as I can afford to keep hosting it. If no one comes to it, it might just stay free forever because it's relatively cheap for me to run. But with loads of users, the price goes up, obviously, with hosting costs. So yeah, that's all I've got to say today. Thanks a lot. 100-day window. Don't miss it. Thank you. Goodbye.